Hey folks, how are we doing? Welcome to another Bocce Piles Vintage Bazaar of Baghdad League. And so the list we're playing today comes from Doomwake, who's a somewhat famous MTG streamer. I think he mostly plays Modern. But anyway, they got 14th in a recent challenge here. The big changes are that it plays a fourth Poxwalker and a Gitaxian Probe in the main deck instead of some Mindbreak Traps. And they've got all four Ravenous Traps in the sideboard. I've seen whispers on social media and whatnot that Dredge may be rearing its ugly head, our enemy Bazaar deck. So I thought I'd give it a shot this week rather than run back the same 75 as last time. So here we go. Okay, we are on the play. So we have a nice hand that includes Bazaar. This hand is like nuts, so I'm gonna keep. So I think I do need to Bazaar right away because we have the hollow one. Although I kind of do want to know like what we want to discard here, but I mean I got to get this hollow one into play, so I'm gonna activate the Bazaar. Okay, so probably discarding some Masters of Death. I mean, it'd be nice to be able to force twice. It seems like the options are 2 Masters of Death and a Noxious Revival. The thing is, if we get Wastelanded, these Masters of Death in the graveyard aren't great, although they can come back to be Force of Will fodder, and we'll have 8 power in play attacking. So maybe that's okay. So I think I am just going to discard the Noxious Revival. We can, in theory, counter 3 times while attacking for 8 power if we get Wastelanded here. So I think we want to discard the Noxious Revival. All right, so I'm going to play a hollow one and a hollow one and pass the turn. Okay, it is a Bazaar mirror to start. Is it going to be the fabled Dredge? It looks like it is. Okay. So at least we predicted the metagame. Right off the bat, we're playing against Dredge. I think the 8 traps in our sideboard are the 4 Ravenous Traps and 4 Leylines of the Void should be quite good. All right. Ooh, a Strip Mine. Well, I'd say we are doing that. I guess I'll activate first here. We're just trying to get our opponent dead as possible. We don't find anything too exciting. I think it's just discard, discard, discard. Attack for 8. Hit them with a Strip Mine. And then we'll see what they can dredge into here. So they decline the Icarid trigger on the upkeep. And they don't dredge into anything too frightening. So that is encouraging. Is there some world where I need to protect my life total? I think I'm going to not worry about it and just keep doing my my Bazaar thing. They are playing this Terror of the Peaks Outlaws of Thunder Junction card that can deal a lot of damage with like a Dread Return and Bridge from Below. Anyway, a Rootwalla. Well, let's go ahead and activate more Rootwallas. Okay, and this Noxious Revival, probably a good thing to have. So we'll put these Basking Rootwallas into play, discard this Master of Death, seal to these triggers, cast a Rootwalla, and get in for a bunch. And I think the play here is to Noxious Revival the Gull. No, they have a Shambling Shell as well. So I don't think the difference between making them Dredge 4 or Dredge 3 is big enough to be worried about. Well, they do get to put a Prize Amalgam into play, but that'll be tapped, so I don't think that that matters. So I guess I'm going to sit on this Noxious Revival and see how this Dredge goes. And I'll set a stop in their draw step here. Okay, so they're putting an Ichrid into play. Yeah, they're putting an Ichrid into play. Wow, did they... So they exiled both of their dredgers. And I guess they're hoping to, like, draw Bazaar of Baghdad here, then. Their 2 Ichrids alone, it don't matter. Okay, and they conceded. Great. So we definitely want all of this nonsense. And so we want Force of Vigors to destroy their Leylines of the Void. And we want Force of Wills to protect our own Force of Vigors. And to protect against their Force of Vigors. So I need one more cut here. I think it's just going to be a Poxwalker. You can maybe think about bringing in Fury here. But I don't think I want to do that. So this will be interesting. This is my first game against Dredge. And I've been thinking about this in my head. Like, what kind of hands can we keep? Okay, well, I think that this is one of the hands that we can keep. All right, so the opponent Serum Powdered. And they mulled to 5. Maybe they mulled to 6 here and put Leyline of the Void into play. I'm going to put a Leyline of the Void into play. I don't know that the second Leyline of the Void helps because Force of Vigor is just going to destroy them either way. So I think I'm okay here. It's an extra card to pitch to Bazaar. Would be the upside. And then we also have this Ravenous Trap backup. And we have this Noxious Revival to get our Bazaar of Baghdad back. And it looks like the opponent just wants to do nothing here. That does appear to be the case. And we have a Bazaar of Baghdad, so that's exciting. Okay. So I guess I'm going to wait here. I would like a blue card to protect my Leyline of the Void from Force of Vigor. They can't... They cannot Force of Vigor on their turn. So I'm not in a huge rush here. But I guess I am going to Bazaar now. Okay, Rootwallas, those are a clock. And I think I can just discard the extra Leyline of the Void here. All right, we got some Rootwallas in play now. Ooh, we drew a Force of Vigor of our own. Okay, well, let's attack for 2. And then I think I'm just going to go for it with a Force of Vigor on their upkeep. And I think I actually want to pitch the Vengevine here. We're not, like, super close to activating Vengevine. We have Poxwalkers anyway. And this Noxious Revival could be clutch. So let's Force of Vigor. They don't have Force of Will, and that's good news. We're just cruising on into their end step. Okay, nothing too exciting here, but we can discard Poxwalkers, the Leyline, and the Serum Powder. Okay, Master of Death. A good draw. And I think I'm going to continue just to keep this all in my hand and Dredge on their turn. They can't win with Leyline of the Void in play, and they need to Force of Vigor their way through it. All right, they are doing nothing. So let's activate Bazaar. Good, good, good. I think I am going to discard the Ravenous Trap here and just make sure I always have Force of Will protection. And the card advantage of Bazaar should start paying off here. Okay, so we're getting our Squee and Master of Death back. Poxwalkers, okay. You know, I probably should have just done it in my main phase here. Now that I think about it, we might actually be trying to like get a Vengevine into play. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do this now. We have plenty of stuff to discard and still keep a blue card to pitch. Here's the Force of Vigor. Shall pitch a Master of Death. Okay, so we get to discard the Poxwalker, Squee, the Master of Death, and I didn't discard the Rootwalla, so that's a little sad. All right, well I kind of bungled this turn. Wow, another Force of Vigor. They got me there. Man, I really should not have bungled it. Okay, it's just a Noxious Revival. So we're gonna get bailed out here. Or it's just a Wasteland, which we can just Noxious Revival back our Bazaar. And my misdeeds shall go unpunished. Here's the Bazaar. I am looking for like a Vengevine here. I'm going to keep the Force in hand. Specifically the Master of Death in hand to pitch to Force. And yes, we have some Poxwalkers in the graveyard now. Okay, I don't think I can screw this up again. Okay, the opponent concedes. We are on the draw for round 2 against Clone 9, who appears to be a Doomsday gamer. In Legacy, I think I would like what we're doing against Doomsday, but I haven't played against Vintage Doomsday before. Just like the tempo counter plan, you know, I think being strong against Doomsday. And anyway, we'll see how it goes. Our first hand did not have Bazaar of Baghdad, and neither does this one. So I'm going to keep mulliganing. Okay, so this one does have Bazaar of Baghdad, and I'm going to keep. We'll put back a Serum Powder. And I guess I'll keep a Force of Vigor over a Rootwalla here and hope that maybe it does something. And the opportunity cost of an extra 1/1 probably like not that great. Okay, well, the opponent has a Bazaar of Baghdad, so maybe Dredge is all the rage here. Yeah, it looks like it. A hollow one. So our Bazaar is going to get to do something. And it's going to get to do something right away here, so that's cool. So I think I'm just going to Force of Vigor, right? Well, I'll let them attack, and with their Vengevine, we can't stop that. And we'll go in the end step. Take out some hollow ones. Squee is a pretty okay draw here. Let's not screw up our Vengevine or our Poxwalker trigger this time. So we're discarding Poxwalker, Blazing Rootwalla, and Squee. This is a pretty tough one to screw up, to be fair. And then we'll get a 1/1. We'll get, sorry, a 3/1, and then we get a 1/1, and then we get a 4/4. So I guess our opponent's not playing Dredgers. It looks like it's, I guess, some kind of mid-range bug deck, so this is interesting. I see, it's one with Cradles. And a Collector of... Well, that doesn't matter too much. I think I like what we're doing here broadly against my opponent's strat. So do I want to like block and kill this Vengevine? I'd rather block it with a Poxwalker. So maybe I go to 12 here. Maybe I just block with a Rootwalla. Because attacking with a Rootwalla is not going to be very good. And this is combat. I mean, this isn't why I play Vintage, thinking about combat math. But I think this is, I mean, if I attack with a Rootwalla, they're just going to block with the UF, right? Or maybe getting for 1 point of damage, and we're preventing 4 here. I think this is okay. All right, so we get back Squee. We draw Wasteland. That's a pretty good one. So I think I should activate right now and see what we can make happen going into this attack step. We find our own Vengevine. Gotta discard the Squee. And I'd say I have to Wasteland my opponent's Bazaar. So I'm gonna do that. Maybe I should do that before I attack here and see what happens. Okay, they just let it go. Interesting. So I think the plan for me here is to attack with the hollow one, right? And then leave up the Poxwalkers on defense. Although the opponent gets to crack back for 8. They have 1 card in hand. Maybe I just stay back on defense here, actually, and just try to amass a bigger army here and see how that goes. Okay, what do we want to do here? We do want to attack with Vengevine. I'm happy to trade with my Poxwalker. Okay, and they are apparently okay to pass. That all seems good for me. I feel like we are getting ahead here with our Squeeze and Master of Deaths and our Bazaar plugging away for us. Another Poxwalker. I think I have to activate Bazaar here. Yup. Oh man, we're gonna do some crushing here. So discard Poxwalker, Rootwalla. Now we get a bunch of Poxwalkers and a Vengevine into play. I think we are swinging the game here. Okay. And I've got some Basking Rootwallas to chill on defense, and so I'm gonna trade with whatever they want to do here. We've got Force of Will up. So I think we are in an increasingly good spot. Okay, the opponent rips a Bazaar of Baghdad. That's probably good for them. Okay, they find a Rootwalla number 1. Forcing this doesn't like do anything to the Vengevine calculation. Okay, and they're just gonna pass, it would seem. They're going to attack with a Bloodghast. I would have to anticipate this means they have another land to try to bring it back with. Now I'd rather the Bloodghast was just tapped. Okay, so a similar situation to last time. I don't think we're Force of Vigoring, Chalicing, or doing any of this stuff. I mean, Fury seems like an interesting option, but it's hard to imagine that I can afford to cut Force of Vigor or Force of Will. They are like playing Deathrite Shamans. I mean, I think Poxwalker is like pretty darn good here. But is Fury somehow better? Because they are Deathrite Shamaning and activating it, that'll be rough. Like maybe I don't need all of this graveyard hate. All right, let's try going without Poxwalkers and seeing how we feel about it. You know, maybe the Echoing Deeps was supposed to come in. We got a nice triple Bazaar hand. I'm gonna have to keep. Opponents on Leyline. Once upon a time. So they've got a hollow one. They've got a Rootwalla. And then presumably the hollow one. Anything else? No. Okay, well, let's draw Force of Vigor. Force of Will, that's not terrible. Do want to get this hollow one into play, so I'm definitely activating. Serum Powder, Leyline. Probably okay to discard one Bazaar here when I've got... Maybe I just discard the Noxious Revival, although it is a green card for Force of Vigor. Noxious Revivaling my opponent's Bloodghast, not going to do a ton. Maybe I guess I'm going to discard the Noxious Revival. We still have the Vengevine that we can pitch to Force of Vigor. Get the hollow one into play. Pass the turn. All right, so the opponent's Bloodghast is going to make its return here. They're cracking this Catacombs. Okay. Yes, we are going to trade hollow ones. Deathrite Shaman, that seems worth Force of Willing. Blazing Rootwalla. Well, I'm going to activate Bazaar here. And put some Rootwallas into play. I guess we're losing a Vengevine. Cast a Rootwalla. We're going to play another Rootwalla. And so if I play Bazaar and activate it, draw. Yeah, I'm not able to Force a Vigor this turn. So maybe I just have to wait here. But yeah, we're getting pretty kilt by our opponent's Leyline here. All right, they can get in for 2 with this Bloodghast. I'm just going to take 2 damage here. All right, they pass the turn. Hollow one. Okay, that's not terrible. Rootwalla. Probably not forcing anything. I mean, I guess I can probably find another green card once I have the Force of Vigor. So I guess I'm going to attack with my Rootwallas. And we'll deploy the hollow one. Okay, the opponent's activating Bazaar. So they have a Rootwalla and a Vengevine in their graveyard. And they have a hollow one. Maybe I should have played another Bazaar just for the purposes of trying to find one of the 3 Ravenous Traps. But, you know, I feel like this one's getting away from us. Do I trade with Vengevine here? I could just take it from Vengevine. Or I guess I can block the Bloodghast and soak up 4 damage here with a Rootwalla. Okay, they have a Dryad Arbor. Their Bloodghast is coming back. Let's activate Bazaar. Yeah, we're just not really getting anywhere here. Guess I'm going to play this other Bazaar and pass. Okay, so the opponent's attacking with a whole bunch of things. Oops. Go into my blocker step. Oh, we got something. Okay, they're juicing their Rootwalla. Makes sense. So hollow one trades with hollow one. Rootwalla trades with not juiced Rootwalla. This Rootwalla doesn't really have a good block. They're going to be able to keep juicing their Rootwallas. Could make like a pointless block. I guess I'll just soak up damage on the Vengevine here. Okay, so that happens. We take 5. Wasteland, cool. The Leyline of the Void. Here's a Ravenous Trap and a Force of Vigor. Thing is, I can't really Ravenous Trap. I think they've pretty much got this one here. We're at 12 here because they can attack for 4, 8, 10. We got owned by this Leyline. I think that's okay. We'll just go on to the next game. So my opponent's obviously not playing Force of Wills. So maybe I don't need my own Force of Wills to protect our Force of Vigors. And Force of Will doesn't counter Leyline of the Void anyway. But Mental Misstep, Echoing Deeps, Ravenous Trap. And then I could bring in like a Gitaxian Probe or a Poxwalker. All right, let's try it. So this hand doesn't have Bazaar or Leyline. And overall, it doesn't do anything. Okay, this one has Leyline and Bazaar. I'll keep it. So we're going to keep. Now, what do I want to throw back? Kind of want to say the Vengevine. This Noxious Revival might be useful, and I don't really have double Rootwalla to set it up. So we'll put this Leyline into play. Opponent has Leyline 2. Okay. So who's going to find their Force of Vigor first? I guess I'm going to play Bazaar and see what my opponent's up to here. Okay, they're on Wasteland. I think I'm going to activate the Bazaar. So we have a clock. Poxwalker, not going to do much. I think we just get rid of a Squee too. Although this Noxious Revival is pretty bad. Although if we do draw the Force of Vigor, it's our green card. I think I can afford to get rid of a Squee here. We are at least attacking for 1. All right, here's the Wasteland. Here's the Rootwalla. Ravenous Trap. That's not a terrible one. I'm kind of feeling bad about our lack of Force of Will to protect our own Leyline from Force of Vigor. They don't seem to immediately have it, so that's cool. Skull Clamp, okay. Interesting. Interesting tech in our opponent's deck here. Well, there's a Bazaar. I think I'm just going to do it. Cool. Discard some Noxious Revivals and the Squee. I'll attack for 1. Play the Hollow 1. So I just don't know if I want to like Wasteland my opponent and then let them have their Bazaar. I guess if they start putting Rootwallas into play, I can Wasteland the Karakas before they can equip the Skull Clamp. Okay, opponent's doing nothing. I like that. There's a Force of Vigor. Well, I think the plan is to sit back here. And if they start doing something, we can start trying to draw another green card for this Force of Vigor. They're doing nothing. Another Hollow 1. Okay. Well, let's get in. I guess I'm gonna Bazaar here. I guess their Leyline doesn't even matter at this point. I'm just gonna leave Wasteland in case they somehow play like a Tabernacle. I don't think. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Okay. All right, 2-0 against Bazaar Mirrors. Awesome. Okay, we're up against Fire Truck here, who I think is I mean, they make videos on YouTube, and I've seen them make Bazaar videos. I don't know if they're playing Bazaar here. But we are going to be taking a Powder here. And we're going to be taking a Keep out of this Bazaar. So we're going to get to put Poxwalker into play. Yeah, and it's going to be a third Bazaar Mirror. Awesome. All right. So the plan here is just to main phase Bazaar. Okay. Play Bazaar. Activate Bazaar. Discard a Poxwalker. Blazing Rootwalla. And I don't really see a reason to discard the Vengevine right now. We'll cast the Rootwalla. Poxwalkers are coming in. And we'll pass the turn back here. So we have Wasteland for their Bazaar. So that's cool. Not much else in the way of interaction here. Yeah, here goes my opponent using their Bazaar. Okay, they had themselves a hollow one. Okay, I'll get my Master of Death back. Okay, we got our Master of Death back, and we have double Bazaar here. Hey, I don't see a reason not to activate the Bazaar. So putting one Basking Rootwalla into play is probably not a huge deal. I think I have to Wasteland my opponent's Bazaar here, sadly. So let's discard Master of Death, Master of Death. Vengevine. Let's play Wasteland. Take our opponent off their Bazaar. And I think I'm comfortable getting in with a Poxwalker here. They predictably go to 17. We'll see how their Dredge goes. What do they have? A Noxious Revival? Yeah, that's good. So they get to bring back the Icarid, but they do have to lose a Dredger. They probably make a smart choice, and they're just going to Bazaar again. Okay, so we're getting hit with a Creeping Chill here, so it's going to deal 3 to us, and they're going to gain 3 life. So against this dedicated Dredge build of our opponent, I think it's, well, it seems like we're losing game 1 here. We'll need to draw maybe Wasteland again, but they're going to start. Well, they can't attack with their hollow one because we get to block with our Blazing Rootwalla, and that would kill their bridges. Okay, and they do have to just pass the turn back, so that is a start for us. So I'm going to get back the Master of Death. I guess I'm going to get these all back because we're probably Bazaaring twice. So let's Bazaar once. Discard Poxwalker, Rootwalla, Squee. And then we can Bazaar again. Nothing too exciting. Squee. Master of Death. I don't want to be taking tons of damage from these Masters of Death is the thing. And I guess I can attack with both if they want to lose their bridge. That's cool with me. Then I've got this Rootwalla on defense. Maybe I should have held a Poxwalker back, because they're going to have a bunch of Icarids here. Dredging. Okay, they're doing a bunch of stuff. I think it's all bad news. Let's yield to these triggers. We can force a negation something, but we can't force Creeping Chill here because it's not a spell. Okay, and they can attack. Oh, they hit another Creeping Chill and we go to 8. So I guess maybe like attacking with this Rootwalla was really greedy. I should have thought harder about that. And yeah, we're just dead. Okay. Well, that's a pretty rough one anyway. But okay. Well, we get to bring in the whole bunch of stuff here. All right, I guess we're trimming on Poxwalkers to get everything I want in. Not really interested in Fury, unlike the last matchup. Although, man, our blue count is super low for trying to force. We only have eight cards. Maybe I should bring in Fury. It at least kills bridges. Or I could be boarding out forces instead of Poxwalkers. And just bring in a couple Furies to kill bridges with. Because I can't be forced to protect from their Force of Vigors. I just don't think it's worth it. But, okay. I think this is acceptable. Okay, we got a hand with Leyline, Force, and Bazaar, so that's all pretty incredible. Okay. Opponent kept on 5. We have a Leyline. They have a Leyline. Okay. I'm going to play Bazaar. And then we'll yield here and just Force of Vigor on their upkeep. They do have a Bazaar, so they exile some stuff. We'll go to their end step. And exile our discard. We don't have to exile some of these things. And there's no reason to use the Noxious Revival on anything. I think I'm just gonna Bazaar right now. Wasteland is an excellent get, and so is the trap. And so we'll just have to be content with one Noxious Revival in hand. Seems fine. Okay, opponent is just passing it back here. It seems like a good sign. Opponent concedes, great. You know, Echoing Deeps is maybe not actually good here. I mean, it's good against Wasteland decks, but is it good against, like, Wasteland Leyline decks? I don't know if I really like this card. I could cut it for Fury. Maybe I'll just do that. And, I don't know. We'll keep trying it here. But yeah, I still don't think I can bring in Force of Will. There's just not nearly enough blue cards. Yep. All right, let's run it back here. So our opponent kept 7. We have a Force of Vigor, Ravenous Trap, Wasteland hand. Are we supposed to keep this? Well, we can beat their Leyline and Wasteland their Bazaar and exile their graveyard. I think I kind of want to try it. I mean, if this was Leyline of the Void, is the only way this gets better. I don't want to mulligan low and lose to their Leyline. I think you keep this. There's the Bazaar. Here's the activation. Here's the hollow one. Yeah, they don't have 2 hollow ones. So that is good news. Let's take out their stuff. Let's exile their graveyard. You know, maybe I could have done this more strategically. Because now they can Noxious Revival back their Bazaar of Baghdad. And I probably was not about to lose. Dang. Yeah, see, they're about to... Okay, they did not Noxious Revival. But yeah, that was maybe a little premature the way I did that. Strip Mine, okay. We're playing some Drago. Yep, we're still playing Drago. Draw a hollow one. And there's the Noxious Revival for our opponent. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm just not experienced enough to know if you can keep this kind of hand or not, or if it is just mulligan to Bazaar. But if I had intelligently waited on the Ravenous Trap. Okay, now I have a Ravenous Trap of my own. So I can get back my or Noxious Revival of my own, and I can get back my Ravenous Trap here. Okay, now they did not hit a Dredger. So maybe it's not over yet. Well, a hollow one. So I can Noxious Revival the Wasteland and take out their Bazaar. But I'm losing to the hollow one. They can attack once with Icarid, which does take a turn off the clock once I pay 2 life with a Noxious Revival. I don't think it's a good spot. Maybe you're just supposed to mulligan for Bazaar. All right. Let's what do I want to do here? Wasteland or Ravenous Trap? I guess I'm going to get back the Wasteland and pray. All right, here's the Wasteland. We'll take out their Bazaar. And we're getting hit for 4 a turn here. It looks like they have another Noxious Revival. Well, yeah, see, if we had exiled their Bazaar of Baghdad, but probably they could have Noxious Revival their Bazaar of Baghdad back on top. Maybe they would have done that. So I guess you can't keep the non-Bazaar hand, and you just kind of have to accept. Especially, it didn't even have Leyline of the Void, so... Well, at least we ripped another Wasteland. And I suppose we could rip a Bazaar here and maybe get the job done somehow. Although, they got to put another Prized Amalgam in the graveyard, so they're going to get to Icarid and get a Prized Amalgam into play, so that's going to be a pretty unbeatable clock here. They swing for 7. All right, can we rip like a Bazaar here? No. Okay. All right, well, it's a learning experience, folks. Okay, we're on the play for round 4. And this is a nice Bazaar hand we're going to keep. So I think it is just a Bazaar and activate situation. Well, maybe we'll see what our opponent's doing here. We have this Force of Vigor. And we're probably not about to put a Vengevine into play. And so maybe we do or don't want to discard this Rootwalla. Workshop. An Emerald. The One Ring. Okay, well. Let's say we're going to activate Bazaar here. Okay, so I'm going to put a Rootwalla into play. I'm going to be wastelanding my opponent's workshop. So I'm just having a look at a Jewel Shops list here. So Wasteland seems quite good, and they don't play Wasteland. So we're probably discarding a Bazaar here. And the Serum Powder. Although we could just discard the Mental Misstep. But if they play they could play like a top or a Sol Ring or a Manifold Key or an Ancestral. Okay, we'll discard the Serum Powder. And I'm going to hold up Force of Vigor here. And alternatively, I could discard the Misstep and keep the Rootwalla, but that doesn't really seem great. That would just be to trigger Vengevine. Okay, let's discard the Powder. Yep. And we'll try this. All right, Rootwalla's in. The One Ring is in. Drawing a card. Mox Jet. Okay. So now we can just kind of do something with our Force of Vigor. Sol Ring, we'll hit that with a Mental Misstep. I'll go into their end step. Then we're going to leave them on no mana here. I'll Wasteland their workshop. See, this is where it's almost better to not have played this Rootwalla, because I'd rather have this hollow one in play. So if I activate Bazaar now, I'm going to lose Wasteland, which is potentially pretty clutch. Maybe what we do here is just chill. I don't want to lose Wasteland. They have another land. The opponent has the ring protection, so attacking does nothing. They're activating the ring. See, there's the Saga. So I'm glad we did not discard this Wasteland. All right, I'm gonna see what we draw here. Well, we can definitely get Hollow One into play here. And can Wasteland this Saga. See, the only thing is that this Noxious Revival is like pretty good. Getting back another Wasteland. So maybe we need to let the Hollow One Dream go. And just look for Squeeze. Or Masters of Death. I guess I'm going to continue to not put the Hollow One into play. It's unfortunate we could be beating for 4 instead of 1 if I hadn't played this Rootwalla. Okay, they're taking up that one ring. At least they're taking some damage from the ring here. Mana Crypt. Well, I can't stop it, but it could deal damage to them. Otawara. Grim Monolith. I feel like we're losing control of this one. So I'm going to activate the Bazaar here. Another Wasteland. What I want is this Force of Vigor. I guess it's not really an option. I mean, I could Noxious Revival. I think I just have to waste their Otawara and keep them off blue mana and be okay with that. We are at least doubling our clock here. They're going to have a bunch of damage from the One Ring and the Mana Crypt here. Okay, well now we can start drawing cards. I guess I'm just going to activate Bazaar here. Okay. We can Wasteland them off of blue. They have the paradoxical outcome. Well, that's probably bad news. So we do get in for 2 here. Mox Sapphire. Okay. Well, they have 12 cards in hand, and probably bad news for us. Here's another Saga. It's the artifact mana we knew about. The One Ring makes its triumphant return. Okay. We'll get Squee back. A Vengevine. We're getting like breached here. Okay, they thought about not letting us do that, but then they let us do it. And so we'll discard some of these things, play the other Bazaar. I guess we're going to activate and look for Rootwallas or Squees or Masters of Death. And we're going to pass it back here. They do have the One Ring shield up right now. Yep. But they're going to have this Saga going, and it's going to be a problem. Okay, so they take a damage off the One Ring. The Saga ticks up here. They did lose the flip to Mana Crypt and took 3 damage. We got the old Ancestral Recall. Taking up the ring some more. Grim Monolith. And another ring. Alright, so they're going to have the protection. And make some giant constructs. So let's see, they discarded a Mystic Forge and a Force of Will. I guess a Saga. Alright, anyway. I mean, I think it's hard not to be checked out here, but I think we're pretty donezo. So I could attack. No, I can't attack because they have the One Ring protection. So could Noxious Revival, like Force of Vigor. But we don't. Yeah, we're just not able to have enough cards in hand to Force of Vigor. So yeah, I'm just gonna pass here. I guess it makes sense to go ahead and discard this Squee. Like we might draw a Force of Vigor and have 2 cards. So they make a construct. I guess I am doing this. Okay. So I could, Bazaar again, but I would only I would have no cards in hand. That does not get me very far. Okay, so they won the Mana Crypt flip. Yep. They took a damage from the One Ring. They're doing their Saga thing now. So they make another construct. They find the Manifold Key. Can they play the Time Vault? Yes, they can. All right, they've got it then. That is infinite turns. So we could have done a couple extra damage if we had not put that Basking Rootwalla into play. But I don't think it would have got them, but I have to think about how I'm deploying my resources. Okay, so Mindbreak Trap is really our only sideboard card here. So the Probe seems less important on the draw. And then I need one other cut. And so maybe it's just a Poxwalker. Yeah, that seems fine. All right, on the play for game 2. And this hand is a keep. We have some Bazaars, our draw engine. We'll get to put Hollow One into play, have Force of Vigor, and Wasteland back up. Having our card draw engine online, I think, should make this a much closer game. Okay. Here we go. The Force of Will is a great find also. We'll put the Hollow One into play. We've got Force into Wasteland next turn. And we're going to reload with the Bazaar. Okay, the opponent leads on Mox Jet. A Pithing Needle. Yeah, I guess this is probably worth Force of Willing at this juncture of the game. Ancient Tomb, Grim Monolith. Okay. So hopefully we can find a green card here between our draw step and this Bazaar activation and wreak some havoc on our opponent's upkeep. Yeah, the Chalice on 0 I don't hate. But yeah, we get to activate Bazaar. So we bricked, sadly. I think I'll just discard the extra Bazaar here. Like, Wasteland's very important here, I believe. And I don't want to discard the Force of Vigor. And I do want to play Chalice for 0. And Wasteland my opponent's tomb. And get in for 4. Okay, the opponent has Saga. Chalice, that's going to get countered. So we are once again hoping for a green card here. There's a green card. So let's activate Bazaar. Squee, Squee, Master of Death. Get in for 4. So there is a question of, would I rather force the Mox Jet or the Monolith? I guess it has to be the Monolith, pretty obviously, because that is much more liable to cast the One Ring. Okay, now we've left our opponent pretty much with nothing. A Workshop, okay. Well, that's a good one. That is not nothing, but we do have Force here. A Force of Negation at any rate. Rootwalla. Strip Mine, a great to get. We'll discard Squee. Squee. And I guess it's fine to discard this Rootwalla. That gives us a 2-turn clock here. Play Strip Mine. Attack for 4. I guess Strip Mining in their attack step seems fine. I don't know what instant speed artifact they would have. Oh, this doesn't double our clock because it does not have haste. All right, well, that was like the opposite of last game. So Chalice a little worse on the draw. I'm just thinking about maybe bringing in the Probe over like a Poxwalker or something, but I guess I'm not going to do that. An extra blue card for Force, though. Maybe that is important. We lose a Poxwalker. I think I'm going to try that. Okay, on the draw, the opponent keeps 7, and this has a Force of Negation and nothing else. Pretty easy to powder here. And this has a bunch of Mindbreak Traps and stuff. These are all cards that we want in our Bazaar hand. But, yeah, I mean, I think we have to powder. Okay, nice. So we don't have Force, but we have Force of Vigor and Wasteland, Hollow One. Let's try to get through the turn here. A Defense Grid. Okay. Well, that's crazily good, huh? That's going to shut off all of our interaction. Well, what do we got here? Trinisphere. Okay. We can't do anything. Understood. Okay, the good news is we've got a pretty good clock going on here. So, discard Vengevine, Rootwalla. We'll cast some Rootwallas. Oh, we can't Trinisphere stops that, huh? Dang, I guess we're just dead then. You can't even hollow one. All right, I guess we lost. The Trinisphere is unbeatable without Force of Will. And I guess that's the way it goes. So we can Wasteland them off the Saga. And I guess we're hoping they die to their Mana Crypt here is the strat. So they're not doing anything, so that's good news. I mean, is there something I can Bazaar into? I guess we're gonna Bazaar. Strip Mine. Yeah, that's something we can Bazaar into. So we'll discard some stuff that doesn't matter. And we'll Strip Mine their land that does not deal damage to them. They win the Crypt Flip. Another grid. Okay, well, that does not change the board too much. Activate Bazaar. Discard some cards that don't do anything. I guess I'll play the other Bazaar. Master of Death. Vengevines. Yeah, I just cannot play these under the sphere, right? No. It does cost 12 less to play, but not enough to get under the Trinisphere. Okay, they did lose that Crypt Flip. We get the Master of Death back. Activate Bazaar. Activate Bazaar. These hollow ones are not coming into play. Okay, they lost the Mana Crypt Flip. A Mana Vault. Well, I don't think that changes too much. We'll get back our boys. I'm just looking for Wasteland. There's one. And I guess I'll activate again. Another Wasteland would be okay. So if I Wasteland their Ancient Tomb, it's kind of better if they use the tomb. It's like Saga that I'm worried about. So I don't know, maybe I'll give them a turn here. I mean, the thing they could play is like a Worm Coil Engine. And I think 6 mana is enough to do that. So I don't think... I think I should just worry about Saga. Okay, they lost the Crypt Flip. Okay, they are passing the turn. So we got to think about, like, if they somehow, they're probably never going to bounce their Trinisphere, right? And I don't think me taking damage off these Masters of Death matters. Force of Will. But yeah, maybe I want to keep like Force of Will in hand here, just in case. Okay, another Wasteland. Discard this Rootwalla that we cannot cast. And I'll play this other Wasteland. And I guess I'm going to go ahead and Wasteland them off the tomb. I mean, them using Tomb versus not using Tomb. They'd have to like tap Mana Vault and use Ancient Tomb. I'm going to take my chances against their crazy Mana Crypt. Okay, so we're moving into their upkeep. Here's the Mana Vault trigger. Here's the Mana Crypt. They do win a flip. They lost like 4 in a row, so can't be too surprised. Are they able to tinker away their Mana Crypt? No, they are not. So we'll get back our squeeze. Find another Wasteland. I don't really think there's any point in activating Bazaar here. We've got everything that we could want, which is just double Wasteland. Although, you know, now that I think about it, if we had one more Wasteland, I guess I still really, there's no spell I can really play. I guess I get like a Rootwalla on the table. It seems like it's just their mana crypt that matters. They win another flip. Okay. Well, there's the Ancient Tomb. I think I'm going to activate and discard some Masters of Death. I guess there's no reason to discard Force of Vigor. Gonna activate again. 9 cards left in the library. We have all the Force of Vigors. Seven cards left in the library. I guess I'm gonna get back one Master of Death and not the other. Chalice. Yeah, I can't really play the Chalice. I can only, if I played something, it would have to be on my turn. Yeah, I think we're just hoping for the mana crypt here, and I'm gonna not get too fancy. Oh, there's not even any lands left in my deck anyway. All right, here we go, mana crypt. All right, here it is. They lost the flip. Okay, that's how we do it, lads. Okay, on the draw for round 5. And, you know, this hand does not have Bazaar, so let's powder. And this hand does not have Bazaar either, so let's powder. This hand has Bazaar. Let's keep. Okay. Black Lotus. Sure. Mishra's Workshop. Okay. It's a little scary. Okay, so we are once again, we're gonna have to beat this crazy deck one more time. Okay. So we do have our Chalice on 0 in our Wasteland. And our Force of Vigor. So those are all good things to have. Yeah, I'm not gonna Force of Vigor that Opal yet. Okay. Well, this Chalice on 0 is definitely happening. Now I can either Wasteland the Workshop, or I can activate Bazaar. I mean, it feels like I have to Wasteland the Workshop here, right? And we'll just have to wait to have any fun until next turn. And yeah, that's it. So we could Force of Vigor the Opal here, but that would be pretty pointless. It doesn't make mana yet anyway. They're gonna take on the burden of the ring. And Urza's Saga. So this is a great spot to Vigor the Saga in the Opal. So I think we're gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, that resolves. Okay. So it's our crazy draw engine versus their crazy draw engine. And theirs deals damage to them. And this Force of Negation seems like a pretty good get. And this is all shaking out pretty okay right now. So we'll discard the Poxwalker, the Master of Death, and the Rootwalla. We get a Poxwalker into play here. We get a hollow one. So we're beating for 8, and we've got a Force of Negation up. And they're taking 2 damage a turn or so from there, the One Ring. Yeah, draw those cards. Here's an Ancient Tomb and a Manifold Key. So do I just Mental Misstep this? Probably, right? The other option is to save Force Negation for something later. But I'm not sure what that thing later would be. Yeah, they are just passing the turn here. That's good news. So they're going to be taking 5 damage from their own stuff here. I feel like Chalice is doing work. Let's get back the Master of Death. Force of Will. Yeah, that's a good one. So I could activate Bazaar here. I don't think we're not going to get any more cards in hand. They're dead next turn. Yeah, there was no way I was going to get like a Vengevine into play here. So I guess we're just going to pass. They go to 4. Yeah, they need to... They're planning on using that Ancient Tomb. So they have to do something about their own, the One Ring here. They have an island, so that's a start. So they're going for the Tinker. And I'm just going to Force Negation this, right? Probably pitching the Force of Will. There's just no way I can counter 2 things this turn. Okay, so the opponent is playing a version with Force of Will. So what are we going to Tinker for here? Maybe another the One Ring? A coveted jewel, that makes sense. Well, the good news is we still have this Chalice on 0 in play, and their Manifold Key is in the graveyard. Grim Monolith. So here comes the One Ring. Another Monolith, okay. Time Walk. Yeah. I mean, I can activate Bazaar here, but I'll have no cards in hand. Okay, into their extra turn. So their Ancient Tomb ain't gonna work. If they get the One Ring out, though, they can tap the Ancient Tomb. Phyrexian Metamorph. Okay, they're gonna probably copy their Jewel here. So they draw 3 cards. So I feel like they need a Time Twister, or maybe they can play like Karn the Great Creator and get like an artifact out of their sideboard to try to stabilize the situation. All right, they've got the Paradoxical Outcome, Grim Monolith, another Jewel, I would assume. Well, maybe another Grim Monolith first. Phyrexian Metamorph, copying the Jewel. Mana Crypt, it's going to get countered. Another Metamorph, copying the Jewel. Grim Monolith. Paradoxical Outcome for a whole bunch. So they're going to be doing some more Grim Monoliths. Into some more Jewels, I'm sure. We got all 4 Monoliths out here. Yeah, they're not getting super far ahead on mana thanks to this Chalice, I believe. These coveted Jewels cost 6 but only tap for 3. They have a lot of mana right now. There's the One Ring. So that'll give them protection for a turn. 2 mana left. Of course, they can't tap to use the One Ring. Of course, they have plenty of cards in hand anyway. Well, that lets them use their Ancient Tomb here, though. So they can activate the Karn. And they minus instead of killing my Chalice. They get a Worm Coil Engine. You can see how that would be good. And we'll go ahead and activate Bazaar here. And I just have to discard. All right, now my opponent has to discard a whole bunch of cards. So we unfortunately, and this is while my opponent's trying to decide, you know, which 10 cards they want to discard. That Wasteland on top of our library would have been like the perfect draw here. Because they're going to be trying to get this Worm Coil Engine out. That is, like, if I could find anything, it would be like a Wasteland. If we could take our opponent off their workshop, all these Grim Monoliths are tapped, and they can't use the Ancient Tomb on their next turn until they play another of the One Ring, and that leaves them with just basic Island. And so the One Ring does give them protection from everything, but we do get to take this Karn off the board. Okay, I did some discarding. We get our Master of Death back. Here's another hollow one. Which, if we have to do battle against the Worm Coil Engine, might not be terrible. I don't see why I would not go ahead and just activate here. Yeah, the Force of Will is just almost good, but there's no way for us to have 2 cards in hand. So Force of Will, you gotta go, sadly. Yeah, we did not get there on Wasteland. Bummer. And, so we'll take the Karn out. And, I'm sure they have the One Ring trigger going on. I guess I'm just going to attack them and just make sure I'm not missing something. Seems pretty free to do. Okay, and then we'll play our other hollow one. And pass the turn. They don't take any damage from the One Ring. And, you know, we don't have any play, so we can just yield through their turn. Well, they kick it off with an Ancestral, so, I mean, that's a pretty good one. An Academy, yep, that's going to tap for a lot of mana. It's probably a pretty good one here. All right, the Worm Coil Engine is in. And so if we were to attack our opponent here... Oh, they're going to... Okay, they're going to copy the Worm Coil Engine. That seems like a problem. Okay, and they're just going to pass the turn. Well, Poxwalkers do seem good against Worm Coil Engines. They are going to get to gain a bunch of life. Another Master of Death. So let's activate Bazaar. So I think I have to keep the Force of Will in hand here. But we get another Rootwalla. And, you know, I think I just got to pass the turn here, sadly. There's just no... I mean, I can attack, and then they gain 12 life, and maybe take 5. So that is not great for the home team. They do have to pay 4 for their Mana Vault here. So they have to tap their Academy. So that is something. And sadly, they don't take any damage from the One Ring. So if they attack with their Worm Coils, I take 12 and go to 2, and they go to 13, but we are able to crack for 13 on the counterattack. So that Blazing Rootwalla was actually pretty clutch. So they're activating the One Ring here and going for it. Oh, but they have Otawara. What are they targeting here? Oh, they're targeting the One Ring. My opponent has 3 Force of Wills in the graveyard. So do they have their 4th Force of Will in hand? I think is the big question. I see, they did that on their upkeep with their Tolarian Academy mana. Yeah. So my plan is to try to force the One Ring on the way back down. I don't think it really helps to block here and take myself off the potentially winning line. I mean, they're going to gain all that life anyway. It does make the Master of Death worse. I think I just have to kind of take my chances, though. Another workshop, okay. Well, here's the One Ring. They have another one of these. It's pretty good. Or they just have their 4th Force of Will. It's not too surprising. 11 cards in hand. Now they have the protection from everything. Okay. I think that going to 1 from the Master of Death is fine. Hope so. We have some kind of nut draw off our Bazaar. Well, I don't know if that was the nut draw. Discard Master of Death. Well, we can't really use Master of Death anymore. Force of Negation would be the best thing, although I don't have Force of Negation. And if I activate this Bazaar, we're just not going to have anything in hand. So, and Master of Death in the graveyard is of no help. So I guess I'm just going to pass here. So their mana vault's not tapped, so they don't take any damage there. They do take a damage off there, the One Ring. They're gonna tap the ring some more, but it makes sense. They're gonna be gaining plenty of life this turn. So I'm gonna like Poxwalker one of the Worm Coils, and then I think just block with a Rootwalla on the other. Sensei's Divining Top. I cannot stop it. They use the top. They use the top again to draw a card. Urza's Saga. Well, that'll probably make some big constructs. And a Trinisphere. So we're not playing any more spells this game. Okay. Okay, we're going into the attack step. I'm sure they're going to attack with both. And I might as well chump one with a Poxwalker. And chump one with a random Rootwalla. So that gets one Worm Coil Engine out of here, although its Worm Coil friends are here to party. And the One Ring is coming back down. Yes, they can draw a card. And let's just yield here. The top is coming back in. Okay, yep, nothing to do in the end step here. I'll get back to Squee. Force of Vigor. His time has come and gone. Yeah, like a Wasteland is what we're looking for here. Do we have a Hull Breacher? We do. Okay. Yeah, I would say we are not doing anything else then. All right, so this trigger happens. We don't draw any cards. We discard 3. It really does not matter which, as none of them do anything. And we have to hold up on defense, and we can survive one more turn of attacks here because we have 4 blockers to their 4 attackers if nothing changes before their attack step. Okay, so they're attacking with a 6/6 and a 3/3. So we'll block a Worm Coil Engine, a big guy with a 1/1. And then yeah, I don't think it really matters. Get the Death Toucher off the board. So that happens. Yeah, you can play a Soul Ring. Okay. So we won't be returning the Master of Death. I guess I'd still take a Wasteland. Although they're going to get to make that construct token. A Vengevine. Yeah, that does not change the status quo. So no attacks here. We'll pass back. Here's the end of turn construct. Oh, just a little 14/14, no problem. They're taking the time to make another construct. They're searching with a Saga. I think it's that Mox Jet. They've got too much on the board. But yeah, we'll just block some random stuff and be dead here, or I'll just concede. Well, I guess time is of the essence here. So We'll block, and we'll block, and we'll just take 19 here. Okay. Okay. So we want Mindbreak Trap here. And that's all we got. I don't quite remember what I did in the last round. But is like Probe better than Poxwalker? Poxwalker is pretty okay. And puts a clock on the board. Probing to see what my opponent has. I don't think matters so much in game 2. So I think I am comfortable with this. Okay. So this hand does not have Bazaar, sadly. So I would say we have to powder. Yep. Okay, this hand has Bazaar and Force and Vengevine. So that's all pretty cool. So we're going to keep. And Mindbreak Trap. So we'll want to discard the Poxwalkers and 2 other cards. So I think I'm just going to Bazaar right away here. And then there's potential upside if we hit some crazy stuff. Which we don't quite do, but that's okay. So we'll discard Poxwalker, Serum Powder. And it's probably okay to discard the Noxious Revival here. No, discard the Vengevine. Keep the Noxious Revival to pitch to Force of Vigor, of course. Okay. So Hollow One is in play. We have a couple sources of interaction here. Mox Ruby, Soul Ring, Phyrexian Metamorph. I kind of really don't care about this, but maybe I'll use a Mindbreak Trap on it anyway, and then nuke their artifacts and kind of try to not leave them with anything. I mean, alternatively, I could let this resolve. And then I can nuke the Metamorph and the Soul Ring. That leaves him with like 2 mana. But then I still have Force in hand. I think probably keeping the Force is better. Oh, okay. They're just making another Soul Ring. Okay, well, I'm going to Force of Vigor their Soul Rings. Okay, they're going to concede. The opponent's clearly concerned about their 5 minutes left on the clock, but 5 minutes is probably enough to win game 3. So that's cool. And yeah, I don't think I can really imagine making any changes. But maybe the Probe is better than Poxwalkers. I feel like this is maybe what I did last time. Just extra blue cards to force stuff with, especially on the draw. Okay. All right, so this hand has Force of Negation and Wasteland, but no Bazaar. I think it's a pretty easy powder. This hand has Force and Misstep, but yeah, this hand's crazy. Okay, this one might be good enough to get the job done here. I think I have to be judicious about my Mental Misstep here, because a lot of the things we can misstep, we can probably just hit with this Force of Vigor. And Trinisphere is an absolute blowout. And there might be some other things too. Workshop. Pithing Needle. Well, we have the Force of Vigor. But I have the Mental Misstep. Okay, I guess I'm going to assume that they're not going to do anything else too crazy this turn. Grim Monolith, sure. Okay. So I could Noxious Revival. See, yeah, now I just wish I had just used Force of Vigor. That would have been better. But anyway, let's play Bazaar and activate it. We have all the Force of Vigors. So we'll discard Poxwalker, Blazing Rootwalla, and I guess Vengevine. Well, Force of Will's not doing the most here. I kind of have to force their Grim Monolith on the upkeep, right? So, I told myself I was going to be judicious about the use of Mental Misstep, and I instantly blew it. So I'm upset about that. And do I want to force this Monolith? They play like a Worm Coil Engine. I guess if they tap for a Worm Coil Engine, it's not like the end of the world. But I guess this lets them play the One Ring. Maybe I should have just forced it. Okay, well, this is my chance. I'm going in. All right, so this happens. What else do they have here? Is it the One Ring? It is. Okay, they pass the turn. Hollow one. Okay, that seems all right. Ooh, Strip Mine. Ooh, so we can get Vengevine into play at least, but we lose Force of Vigor. What's more important? So they're at 20 life here. So we'll definitely discarding Bazaar. Yeah, I think I just have to Strip Mine them. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of hope that this works. Think. Here's the Strip Mine. Just really blew it with a Mental Misstep back there. But, you know, it is what it is. So they're going to 19 here. We have a lot of damage on the table. They're going to have, like, 5 cards in hand. So what do they got? Another Mishra's Workshop. Seems like a good start. To a Mana Vault. Mox Ruby. Ooh, are they passing? Okay. What are we drawing? A Rootwalla. So I guess I'm going to Bazaar right now. Like Wasteland or green card. There's some good draws here. Maybe Vengevine and some other stuff. I guess I'm keeping the Mindbreak Trap here over the Force of Vigor that does nothing. So we attack with a squad. 14, I think. 13, maybe. Okay. So they're going to take some damage here. Go to 4. But they have all kinds of mana and cards to work with. So we got to make this Mindbreak Trap count. Okay, so they Academy into a new One Ring. Yeah. That's going to keep them alive for a turn, huh? Okay, and they're just going to pass. Squee. Man, Wasteland is still pretty good, but I would have to lose the Mindbreak Trap. I'm not sure how good the Mindbreak Trap is here, to be honest. Good news is they can only draw 1 mana off the One Ring. Even if we Wasteland them, they still have a lot of mana. So I think it's a pass situation. So they're going to go to 1 here. Okay. Well, you're taking 1 damage off the ring. They're activating the ring. They have the coveted jewel. Okay. Mox Opal, sure. So now we're in the Mindbreak Trap territory. Mana Crypt. I'm not going to be fighting over these mana things. Phyrexian Metamorph. Well, I think it's time to do the Mindbreak Trap, right? They're going to Ancestral Recall in response. Looks like the Mindbreak Trap is happening. They still have infinite mana, though. Yeah, so just another Metamorph. Makes sense. Grim Monolith. Grafdigger's Cage. Don't really plan on playing spells from the graveyard at this point. Metamorph, sure. Becomes another jewel. Mox Sapphire. So it's getting down to the wire for my opponent here. I don't know if they have a way to kill me in 30 seconds of clock time. A Wormcoil Engine, it looks like they're trying to play. I don't know if I'm lagging or they're lagging. Okay, and they conceded. Okay. Okay. So, this is what we played against. The Dredge, Bazaar, Dredge, Shops. A nice 4-1 finish again with this crazy deck. We definitely won on technicalities versus both Jewel Shop decks. But game 3, well, I mean, obviously, if I'd stuck to my guns about the Mental Misstep, just pretty obvious when they have the Workshop in play, like a Workshop Grafdigger's Cage start. I should have held on to the Force of Vigor. Or held on to the Mental Misstep. And save the Force of Will for the 1 ring. I really blew it there. But we are learning here. Yeah, the Jewel Shops matchup is a little crazy. Anyway, regarding this deck, so I did like playing with 4 Poxwalkers, and I don't think I really missed Mindbreak Trap in the main deck, so I probably would run this back. But I kind of don't miss Echoing Deeps, and I kind of think Ravenous Trap is a trap in these Bazaar matchups. I mean, it's kind of Leyline or nothing. I don't know, or at least I fell for the trap. I'd be interested in playing some Karakuses or Pyrokinesises here, maybe. Yeah. Before today, like 90% of the vintage matches I had played were against Luris decks, and it's good to see that the meta is shaking up. I guess people are backing on Bazaar. I hadn't played any Bazaar mirrors until today before either. Well, anyway, that was fun. If you enjoy this vintage content, I'm going to keep running the old Dredgevine here once a week. So like, comment, and subscribe. All right, thanks, guys.